Hi, everybody. My name is Stephanie Beebe, and I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. I know it takes a lot to come to a meeting like this, and especially to start talking and getting to know each other and putting yourself out into the chat. But please know that this is a special group. And this is a group of people, like-minded people who came together. Some of us knew each other before. Many of us are getting to know each other now, and we continue to get to know more and more people as you continue to show up, and especially every week. One of the best ways for us to get to know each other is to have fun in the chat. So please feel free to use that. That is our opportunity to come together and connect with each other. We have different people running different things behind the scenes, so admitting you into the wait, or admitting you into the room, as well as working the chat and muting. If you don't mind, just go ahead and mute yourself when you guys come in. That would be fantastic. When we're finished, we do open it up. Got it. I got muted too. So we do open it up at the end. So if you guys have any questions, or if you just want to use this as our family time, that's what it's for. So we always stay on a few minutes afterwards to allow that. A couple things that we love to do, because these calls are so special. They are people telling their stories, and every week is different. We've been doing them for 9 months now. We started at the beginning of the pandemic to bring people together, to allow people a place to be loved, to be supported, to be inspired, to know that there's people out there like every single one of us, and every week is different. So you may relate to one story or the other, but we have different stories every single time. And what we love is if you have the opportunity to keep your video on and to allow that energy to flow between the computers or the phones, it does make a huge difference to feel that energy. And as you're on these calls with us every week, you'll know that. You'll actually feel that energy, and that's such a blessing of the people that come, and especially those that come every single week, to put that out there and to receive as well. Also, if you can, on the upper right hand corner, it will say speaker view. And that's another thing that I really love to do. When our presenters present their stories, there's something incredible and magical about being able to look into their eyes and to really feel their soul and their energy and where they were. With many of our stories, they're transparent stories. They may be vulnerable at times. They may be emotional, like tonight. They may, take us in different directions. So if you're able to look at them directly, not have any other distractions around you, that's always one of my favorite things to do, to be able to really, truly watch the presenters. We go through a couple of the slides to get to know their families, get to know who they are behind the scenes, and then they share their stories. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to make comments in the chat. We use the chat room quite a bit, and it becomes our family in our living room. So with that, I do want to go ahead and get started. I want to thank every single one of you for being here today and being a part of all that we have to offer. We do come from a particular company with the name Isogenics. And if you haven't ever heard of it before, we welcome you here as a guest. With this company, though, I want to let you know that it really has become something absolutely incredible. And can you guys see me on this screen? I'm not sure if I'm highlighted on the screen, so I'll try to work with that. But it's become something incredible. And when people look at a nutrition plan or a way of changing their life through food, they think of it strictly as just that. But what we have found, and especially those that keep coming here week after week, it's so much more than that. It's support, it's love, it's motivation, it's inspiring, it's community, and we bring people together. And so it's not just changing your food. It's not just replacing a couple meals with a protein shake or anything like that. It's coming together. So let me share just a little bit about what we do, what we have to offer. And of course, we thank you for being here tonight. All right, thumbs up if there's any questions with the slideshow. Thank you guys for helping me. Appreciate it as always. The name of the company that we love, and so many of us have become very close to, it is our life. It's a part of our life for sure, and as well as our families. It's called Isogenics, and the art of well-being. And the vision of the company, as well as what so many of us have adopted, is that everyone deserves to experience a healthy, joyful, and abundant life. And we've experienced that. It's absolutely incredible. This is me. It's not me, but this is me in the kitchen when my kids were younger, blending up our shakes. We still do that every single day. My children make their own shakes. They drink it, and it's helped them to become independent, which is absolutely fabulous. But at the same time, I know as a parent, I'm giving them the vitamins and minerals and vitamins that they need, and they need to become strong children. But I also need myself as an adult. So with this nutrition, we're able to eat better, to feel better, to look better, move better, do better, and all in a very simple way. And we do it together. Now, I do always love to say and talk about this slide with integrity, because it's such an important part of our company. It starts at the top and it goes down. And, you know, there's a lot of integrity, and there's different stories that we share every week. And some of them are pretty amazing, like today. Many of our stories are, and we can never guarantee what's going to happen to each individual, but we know you'll have an experience. We know that you'll feel amazing things. And like we talked about earlier, eating better, feeling better, moving better, doing better. We just never know for sure what will happen. But tonight we're going to share some incredible stories. Next week, again, some more amazing stories. We love to celebrate our men. So all of the men here, go ahead and give a big thumbs up in the chat, or a shout out to the different men that come on every single week. But next week we have, and I do believe they are all dads, but I'll confirm that. But we have men coming to the table who are going to share their stories, again, like tonight, in a very transparent, vulnerable way, where they were athletes before, but after getting married, getting settled, having children, having their occupations, they got a little comfortable. Their bodies changed, their mindset changed, their drive changed, and they wanted to get it back. And so they found and were introduced to this program, this nutrition company in our community, and they got their bodies back. So they have some incredible stories. We have Ironmen and triathlons and bicyclists and weightlifters, and that's who's going to be coming to us next week. So please join us for that. Feel free to bring any of your friends. As always, this is an open environment. We welcome everybody, and definitely with open arms. So with that, I do want to share a little bit about our presenter, our first one. And I originally met her roughly about, I think 14 years ago, I believe, and maybe even longer, and just absolutely precious and adorable. But I didn't know her story. All I saw was this beautiful, vibrant woman who loved people and who wanted to be involved. And I loved that personality and that energy that she radiated. And then I started to learn more about her story. And then as I got to know her, and when we had our friendships, she went through her story again for the second time, not realizing that that could happen. So tonight she is going to be sharing a very vulnerable and very transparent story. And please know it's her first time ever sharing the full details of her story. Even her parents, who were in the hospital room with her every single day for months, don't know everything that she thought of and that she went through. And she's going to share a lot of that with us tonight. So please give her a lot of love, give her big hugs and kisses. And towards the end, we have a special treat to show you what all she went through, but how determined and motivated and driven this incredible woman is. So Vicki Medina, we are thrilled to be able to hear your story tonight. Thank you.
Oh my God, thank you. I'm like, okay, I got this. So, well, my name's Vicki, and so I'm going to start off with the whole beginning of it. This is my boyfriend, Johnny. We've been together for 10 years, and this is our daughters, Jaslyn and Jade. A lot of you will probably see Jazzy on the Zooms. She's usually on with Annie, so she's pretty involved. But when I was 4 years old, I was having issues with one of my kidneys, and it was only working 10%. So the doctors removed it. Everything went fine. I had a normal life. Nothing else happened. And so now I'm in 8th grade, about 15 years old, and I started getting like aches in my legs, and I was just not feeling too well. So my mom took me to 2 different doctors, and they finally diagnosed me with Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is an autoimmune disease where your immune system attacks your nervous system. And so from there, I was in the ICU, pretty much paralyzed from the waist down. And after that, they gave me a treatment, an IVIG treatment, and I started walking, like with a walker, but it was working. So I got to go home, do some physical therapy, and I fully recovered within 3 months. So I'm basically back to normal, and I get to, finish going to school. I graduated, and through that time, I met Johnny again, which, fun fact, we actually grew up together since pre-K. We were neighbors at one point. And so me and Johnny get together, we end up having Jazzy, and then we have Jade. They're about 4 years apart. And so after Jade was born, I started getting these aches in my legs again, and I had a really bad headache that wouldn't go away, and lower back pain. And when all that happened, I'm just like, oh, okay, like something's wrong. This kind of feels like Guillain-Barré, but the doctor told me like there's no way I would get it again. It's just really rare. So I went to the chiropractor a couple times. I said maybe I pinched a nerve or something, but the pain just kept getting worse. And the only way to relieve some of the pain was by walking or pacing, but that hurt also. So I couldn't sleep, and through the night I'm just pacing throughout the hallways just so it'll get me so exhausted that I can go lay down for 5 or 10 minutes and get some sort of rest before my body would just not allow it anymore. So we go to 2 separate emergency rooms, and finally they admitted me. They did a spinal tap, and the doctor said, okay, well, looks like you have Guillain-Barré. And I'm like, oh yes, like heck yeah, okay, I'm excited. And he's like, why are you so happy? I said, well, because like I knew something was wrong, so we have answers now, and I've been through this before, so I know exactly how it goes. And since I'm in here already and I'm walking, like I got a head start, like give me the IVIG and I'll be good to go. Like, and that was my plan. So that's in my head. I knew like, oh, this is easy. Well, that's whenever God had a whole different plan for me. And he wanted, he didn't want it so easy at the time. So they send me into the hospital, and I'm in so much pain that they give me morphine, because that's the only thing that is actually helping me and taking away the pain completely. And so I'm on morphine every 2 hours through my IV and then through a pill. And I'm I'm able to walk with a walker, but I'm still needing help to transfer like out of bed and just a little help there. So it's time for them to send me to the physical therapy rehab. And it was a hectic day, and I had asked my nurse, like, okay, do they have morphine there? Because that's what I've been on. And she's like, no, you'll be okay. They have Tylenol. It's like, okay, like, she's a doctor. She knows what she's saying. So I went to rehab, and after a few days, I started declining, and I didn't have that much strength in my legs, and my hands started like cramping in, and I started getting like shaking tremors. So the doctors are like, okay, we need to send you back into the hospital again. And I go back into the hospital, and that whole night I'm dry heaving, I'm sweating, shaking, like can't figure it out. They keep giving me like a nausea medicine, which isn't helping. So go through that the whole night. And the next day, Johnny comes, because my mom was with me at the time. And Johnny came, and he's just like, okay, like, what's going on? So he asked the doctor, like, is she withdrawing because she was on morphine, you know, for every 2 hours? And they weren't aware of that. So they gave me some morphine, and that did the trick. I was like, oh my God, I seriously just went through withdrawals. Like, it was horrible to go through that and feel that for that many hours. So from there, now I'm fully paralyzed from the waist down. I can't feel my legs, my toes, nothing. Like, it just basically kind of screwed me a little more. And now we're trying to find what treatment's going to work and kind of kick in, and nothing was working. So it was just ups and downs. Finally, we find treatment that worked, and I'm like, okay, I'm feeling a little better now, so it's time to transfer me back to the rehab. So once I go back, I'm like, okay, this is one more step closer to go home, because at this point, my daughter, Jade, at the time is 7 months old. And so my brother and my sister-in-law kept Jade with them, so that way she had some routine. And an hour and a half drive from there is where Jazzy's at, going to school, and just basically everyone's everywhere. And Johnny had 12-hour shifts, so on his days off, he would come. I had my mom, my dad, my sisters there the whole time with me. I was never left alone, which was amazing because they were such a great support system for me. And so I'm going to rehab. I'm working as hard as I can to get home to my family. And I had a lot of ups and downs, and the doctor then tells me that they're switching my diagnosis to CIDP, which is the chronic version of Guillain-Barré. And they're like, okay, you're going to be stuck on treatments for the rest of your life. And I'm like, okay, like, I have one kidney, this medicine's harsh, like, I don't know if I can do this. And then they're like, you got to avoid people who are sick or large crowds. Like, you basically have to put yourself in a bubble. And I can't do that. I have kids. We're very involved with their schooling and friends and family. Like, I'm not doing that. So that really, really hurt me and shattered me, because on top of it, I'm going through postpartum from having Jade. And so I get the diagnosis. I'm just like, okay, whatever, crying, you know. And then I finally like shook it off. I was like, you know what, that's not going to happen. Like, work my butt off, show the doctors that they're wrong, and I'm gonna beat this. I'm not going to be on treatment. So after 2 months in the hospital, I'm able to finally go home. So going home was the best feeling, because I finally, after 2 months, had my kids and Johnny. We were all in one roof together again, like reunited. So that was a big push that helped me get to where I'm at today. And so here we are 3 years later, and I'm officially running, I'm walking, I'm going to the gym 5 times a week, and I can do my girls' hair, I can drive, I can be involved with them playing, going to the park, schooling, anything that they need, they have their mom back. And with all that, it was because, you know, I wasn't living the greatest life. I didn't eat healthy. I didn't do anything really. I was just whatever tasted good to me, you know, that's what I was going to do. And I finally had to hit a point in my life where, do I want to put my kids through this again, or have something happen to me where I can't be the mom that they deserve? So I switched my nutrition up. You know, Annie helped me, and after trying it all, I noticed such a big difference, not just with weight loss, but just with how I felt and how everything was going with my treatments, because my goal is to get off the treatments completely. And actually, I was supposed to have one yesterday, and me and my neurologist are working on taking me off of it. So fingers crossed, everything's looking good so far. But yeah, so with it, I do the shakes and the cleanse helps just everything with the cellular level. So with taking all that, I did notice after I get treatments that I am not nauseous. I don't have a headache or a sore throat, and because normally I can't drink water after because it just tastes really gross to me. But the only thing that happens now is I just get a little bit like of a headache. That's about it. And my nurse actually noticed a difference with it, because they normally take about 5 times to stick me for the IVs, because I've been getting this for 3 years now. And this last time she's just like, oh wow, like I got it on the first try, like this isn't too bad, like what's going on? I was just like, oh no, just switching up my life a little bit. So that was something that was really amazing, because that was the part that I hated the most. But Stephanie, we have a little video, and this video is from, I got released from the hospital in April. I want to say like the second week of April, and this was on May 1st. And this is actually, we have Jade in my lap and Jazzy and Johnny, and they got to come and spend some time with me. And then that's my nurse getting treatment. And then this is the video.
Look at this, girlfriend. Woohoo!
I can walk.
She can walk. She said that's my birthday gift.
My mom's birthday present God gave her. Besides having me in her life, but better pay attention.
Yeah. Focus.
Yeah. You're doing good, baby. Thank you. Hallelujah.
Road to recovery.
First walking. May 3rd.
I know.
All right.
All righty.
And you want to put the brakes on those?
Vicki, just absolutely incredible. I want to go back to these because this is you today. This is obviously during your recovery, and then you and your sister and mom walked the hills together. You were in HIIT class yesterday, and just the recovery that you have made, the differences that have happened from here to here are absolutely astounding.
Thank you so much for letting me share my story for the first time.
Thank you for that, Vicki. Just incredible. Thank you for sharing. A couple of the products that Vicki talked about, and for those, I think a few of you, sorry, I hope I'm not making anyone dizzy. But I just wanted to show what her illness does. So we hear a lot about people that talk about their nerves and how their nerves are affected. This is just a little diagram as to what she was going through. Pretty crazy. All right, so a few of the products that Vicki talked about that helped with her recovery, along with her motivation and drive and community and her physical therapy and everything else that she put into play. But these were some of the ones that really made a difference for her and that she consumed during that time and still does today. The isoline shakes with muscle recovery and building lean muscle, Cleanse for Life. You can see a couple of the things that it does right there, and, you know, helping to remove the toxins and the inflammation, especially after going through so much of that medication and the morphine. It's important to get your body clean again. And then we all just need energy from our e-shots, but also the flush. Her sister gave her flush because it's full of magnesium, and magnesium itself just does so many incredible things to help with the body, not just with digestion, but also the mental state. And I wanted to point out sleep spray. She didn't use sleep spray, but sleep spray is a really important one, especially when you are going through stress like that and maybe in the hospital or, you know, just not sleeping well.
Love you, Vicki. Way to go.
This is full of melatonin and lavender and chamomile, and it just knocks us out. We love our sleep spray. So I do have two more presenters coming on to share their stories. And while today is more about degenerative illnesses and autoimmune and some serious things, there's all kinds of different things that this nutrition does and that it does to help us. Because some people come to us like myself. I wanted to drop 20 pounds. I needed the energy, and I did need to improve my finances. I didn't realize it at the time, but there's no question about it now, especially with all the gifts that this company has continued to give me over the last 8 years that I have been here, and then watching people like Vicki and Annie and Jennifer and Shayne and Bethany and so many of the other people who are highly involved. Amazing things can continue to happen. So eating better, feeling better, we talked about that already. Sleep, digestion. We have our whole blend shakes were made to make the digestion better, something that so many people in our world are going through. And then, you know, just having the energy to get through the day, the snacks, performance, and having more, and doing things better, moving better, feeling better. So just a few things that this nutrition can offer that so many people just don't realize. By changing your nutrition, you can change your life. All right, next I want to introduce our next speakers, and they are a couple. They will be speaking separately because they both have gone through some incredible things. But again, like Vicki, they have an incredible drive, a motivation like no one else. They have found ways to get past the different situations that they have been given, and they do it with a smile. And I've gotten to know Jennifer over the last few months, and she does everything with a smile. And for someone who knows so much about nutrition and vitamins and all that we have to offer, she came to us so easily, and she's like, help me. And it was really amazing how quickly her body absorbed all of this incredible nutrition. And luckily her husband said yes as well. I'm going to let them share their story. It's Shayne's first time sharing his story as well. So let's give them a ton of support. You heard Jennifer's story a few months ago. Let's give them some love and hugs as they go through their journey. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, I'm done.
All right. Are we ready? Can you hear us? Okay. Go ahead, Shayne.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Hi, my name's Shayne. I'm going to be 52 here in about a week. We live in South Central Georgia, just over 5 acres. We're in the country. We're about 2.5 hours south of Atlanta. We have a 17-year-old son, 2 dogs, 4 cats,
4 goats,
4 goats, 2 rabbits.
A little farm.
A little farm, yeah. We grow stuff. Have some pears and some other stuff. But anyways, I used to be very active. I coached football since '92. I coached middle school, high school, college. Did that up to about a few years ago. I used to ride dirt bikes. I have street bikes, 3-wheelers, quads. So I was always active. I was that kind of guy. I'd go jump off the cliffs, go down the rapids, body surf. You know, it didn't matter what. We just would do it. So obviously, as I've got older, it was a little hard to imagine what it was going to be like now as my body's broke down. Put in perspective, I never broken a bone. I was never seriously injured. I hadn't hurt myself doing anything. until I tore my left rotator cuff in 96. At that time, see, I'm 6'3", so I was 27 years old and I weighed about 225 pounds at the time. Should I even do that or not even worry about that?
No, don't talk.
All right. So like I said, I had no issues physically or mentally until June of 96. I ended up tearing my left rotator cuff at work. It was literally, I could go in and out, pop in and out of the joint.
It was very bad.
Yeah, it was a real bad one. So I had surgery in November of 96, and then I had it again in February of 97 and again in September of 98.
3 surgeries.
So that was a very extreme, you know, obviously it was a very low point in my life. I was suffering from depression. I was gaining weight. I was going through a divorce. And of course the financial trouble of all that, not, you know, working and then workman's comp and all that. I was able to settle a lawsuit in June of, well, actually it was in February of 99. And then in June, that's when I met her, not my wife. So I guess I'm going to rattle off some of the other stuff I've had. I've had, like I said, the 3 shoulder surgeries on my left in 96, 97, 98. May of 05, I had elbow surgery on my tendon, my right one. In September of 08, I had lower back surgery. Originally it was to repair some ruptured discs. Turned out I had my vertebrae were broken. So they had to clean all that out, get it all undone. And then they would, the ruptured disc, so it was my L2, my L3, L4, and L5, they had to. And
can I make a little note there? I witnessed him break his back.
Yeah, it was in the living room when it happened.
And that's how we found out he had a degenerative spinal condition. It's called spinal stenosis. And
then in May 14th of 2015, I had rotator cuff surgery on my right shoulder. Then February 16th of 2016, I had it again on my left rotator cuff. September 8th of 17, it was my right rotator cuff again.
Because they had to fix what wasn't fixed the first time. Yeah, they repaired the right one.
And then on December 29th of 17, I had a rotator cuff on my left one. And the reason I keep doing the surgeries is I'm too young, they said,
for
replacement. So they just keep trying to fix it until I'm older. And that's what was going on with that. And then in April of 18, I had MCL surgery on my right knee. May of 2019, it was my left knee, the MCL. And then again in October of the same year, because they tore it in rehab. They re-injured me. So that was always a fun thing.
It's been so fun.
So I've been diagnosed with chronic pain, borderline diabetes, of course, depression. I have high blood pressure. That's just a few of the things I've had to deal with. And then throughout all the surgeries, I gained weight, of course. I was always feeling really bad. It was just like an emotional roller coaster. I mean, it's really what it was like.
For me too.
And then, so on top of all the prescription drugs that I've been on and had and take and all that, I was also doing the vitamins. I was trying alternative medicines. I was changing my diet, anything to lose weight. Because I topped out at like at 370 pounds. Every time I was having surgeries, it's like gain weight no matter what. So in March of this year, I decided to try fasting to lose weight. And so if anyone knows about fasting, you have a window. You don't eat anything until there's a certain hours. And mine, I would do like 5 to 7 p.m. And otherwise you would drink coffee with no sugar or cream. You could have tea. You could drink fluids with no sugar. So I was trying that. It was helping, but it wasn't great. I wasn't like dropping the pounds or anything like that. So in April, a month later or so, Jen wanted to try the isogenics. She'd come across that. So she began using the shakes and the cleanse and the Ionic Supreme. So she showed me the shakes, was telling me about it. And the first time I had them, I said it reminded me of when I was a kid, when my mom had those instant breakfast drinks that she used to make. Mm-hmm. That's really what it reminded me of.
And we loved them.
Yeah. So, they tasted good. It wasn't chalky. I really was surprised how good they actually did taste.
And you're getting better energy.
Well, I'm getting to that.
All right.
So, so at first I really wasn't, we'll give it a try, make Jen happy. But it was probably about a little over a week. I noticed I started getting more energy. The cloudiness in my head from all the medicine honestly started going away. It wasn't quite as bad. The memory was starting to come back better. So since April, I've been using the shakes, the Onyx Supreme. I've been doing that once a day. And it's been a fantastic turning point. I've lost 45 pounds since probably April. Well, March, April. Yep. So I'm down to 325. I feel better. I've gotten more energy. I've been able to actually get out of my chair because I have a lazy boy with a back injury. That was really a big thing. So I've been getting out of that. I'm completing projects around the house.
And his moodiness is going
away. My moodiness is better. My interaction with my son and my wife is really improved, which is a huge thing.
Big deal there.
Big deal.
Really big deal.
And
I feel like I've gotten my husband back after 8-10 years of all these medicines he's been on. I felt like he went away and now he's back.
So I'd say out of all the shakes, so my favorite one's probably the kosher creamy vanilla.
Yep.
So I use that every day, and then the Onyx Supreme, I do that every day. I'm very happy with the results. In fact, my doctor, same thing, went yesterday, and my A1C is down to 6.2.
Which is great.
So the blood sugar is really good. I'm dropping weight, like I said, like crazy. So he's all happy about that.
Yeah, he got down to 324 as of yesterday.
Yeah. So it's been going.
So it's over 45
Yeah,
pounds.
so I mean, I'm real happy with it. I'm very glad Jen found it and has been using it. And so that's pretty much it. I mean, obviously I could probably go a whole lot more on, but we'll cut it and we'll let Jen go now. And I just want to say, I really do. I think it's fantastic.
Is that okay if I continue stuff? Okay, cool. All right. So thanks, honey, for sharing. We are excited to be here tonight because of our story. It has been a long road. I don't want to get emotional.
What are you doing?
That was emotional for me. But, as you know, it began in late March, April. And
you really do it for you?
No. But before that, I had been involved in using supplements, as he said, and I had a career in alternative medicine. I actually conceived our son because I went to a nutritionist for a whole year to get my diet right. And I was told I'd never have children.
By two different doctors?
By two different medical doctors. And then I went to this lady and she said, no, you just need to get your diet right and you will conceive. I didn't believe her. And then 12 months later, exactly after I started listening to her, and this is back in 2002 to 2003, she helped me conceive. And I had my son, who's now 17 years old. So anyway, that is where my belief came in that I knew nutrition was so important. So after all this experience, though, I've had 20 years using, food supplements, vitamins, minerals, ranging foods like fruits, vegetables, lean meats, managing my carbs to manage my weight, my own health conditions, and my husband's and my family. Even though I had all this knowledge and experience, and I put in all this effort over 20 years, long years, I still felt like I was constantly coming up short. And that's part of the life of autoimmune disease. It's always a fight, and you can't give up. You have to keep fighting, because when you do give up, it just gets worse. You always have to persevere. It has taught me that. So it really hit home for me this year, early in 2020, because I got really tired dealing with the mental and physical fatigue. I had a lot of frustration from that. Basically, I couldn't find the foods that I needed in the area that we live in, in the boonies of Central Georgia. And I got frustrated every time I went to the grocery store. I knew I wasn't getting the produce I needed. That was part of why I couldn't maintain the energy I needed so I could work and function and help maintain our property and our semi-light farm, So as a result of my health seeming to decline in the last 3 years, I got scared. I was scared to death, especially with my rheumatoid arthritis diagnosis. That is new for me. It's hard to talk about, but I had fought pneumonia and bronchitis 3 times since 2012. I've also suffered from chronic sinus infections pretty much my entire life. These illnesses that I would get, I would be bedridden. I mean, for days, sometimes weeks. I wouldn't be able to function. I couldn't work. I missed a lot of work. It scared me more recently with the RA that my pain factor was increasing, just getting worse. My hands would ache, especially all day on the keyboard. I couldn't walk. My husband would tell me, you're walking like an 80-year-old. What's wrong with you? I'm like, my feet hurt, you know? And I would blame my shoes at first, and we knew it was a lot more serious when it became chronic. So what happened is I literally prayed. I had to go to God, and I prayed for a healthy way to find an easier route to get this nutrition. I knew nutrition was the reason that I was suffering, and I needed it in our daily routine. I wanted simplification. I wanted it to be easy. I knew that there had to be something out there that I was not aware of, that there had to be a better way. So Shayne and I we were already on the path to intermittent fasting, but my main concern was that we weren't getting the nutrition and seriously depriving our bodies of needed minerals and vitamins. And he proved that when he would crash every day at 3 o'clock. And even I crashed. I would crash too. I kept my feeding times from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And I would still, like, between that thing, I'd feel like something at 9 o'clock. And then when I'd wake up, I'd either wake up really weak or dehydrated or something. And so I knew something was going on, that we had to do more. So the fatigue and brain fog weren't going away either. And that alerted me to that. So after that heartfelt prayer, and literally the next day or so, I saw on Facebook a post, and I was introduced to isogenics by my longtime friend on Facebook, Bethany Krause. And I watched the videos she sent me, and I was fascinated because the science was there proving to me how it worked. And I loved that. I wanted to see that. So I joined about a week later with a leap of faith, and I wanted to believe, and so I did. And the money back guarantee on the products helped me feel confident in that decision. And part of the reason that I came to the decision too was because of COVID, because that was happening at that time, you know, the craziness of that. And the other part was handling my RA and dealing with that chronic pain. And I was suffering from massive insomnia. I wasn't sleeping. And that had been going on for quite a while. So I do want to make a special note here that I am under a doctor's care to handle my RA and my pain. But the good news is that my doctor, I told him about being on a superfood nutrition for the last 6 months on this program. And he goes, let's do blood work. And I said, yes. And guess what? I just got my results back, and my triglycerides have dropped 44 points from 11 months ago. And that is a huge win, because I was on the very bad extreme end of triglycerides. There's 4 stages. I was at 4, and now I'm at 3. So that's great news. Also, our son Zach was in a car accident last December, and he's had 2 shoulder surgeries this year, and we are using those shakes to help him recover better. I think it's helped him tremendously. Yeah. And I don't worry about him getting his nutrition anymore. So that's a huge plus, you know, for teenagers. You know, they love to go out and eat fast food, and he's guilty of that. So we've been using the isolate shakes in my family. I take the greens daily, and I use the Amped Hydrate the most. I love it way better than Gatorade. Gatorade sucks compared to the Amped Hydrate. I discovered recently I'm not drinking the water, so that's why I'm using it. I need to drink water more, and instead of drinking water, I add a scoop of that. And my favorite is blue raspberry and lemon lime. My favorite shakes are the kosher vanilla, the chocolate mint, oh, I can't get enough of that one, and the birthday cake. So And also I want to tell you, see the greens on the bottom left? I literally feel like I can't live without those now. They are helping my immune system, where before I can fight I couldn't fight off the sinus infections. The greens, I believe, are helping me with that. And I also started, I don't think it's on here on the screen, but I also started with the joint support system and the pain relief cream to help my hands. Yes, I have really bad pain in my knuckles and my feet and my heels. And the pain relief cream smells great. It feels good putting it on. It's just amazing compared to other products I've tried. It really helps when I need it the most, when I really need that pain relief. The aromatherapy even is a calming factor to it, so because it smells so good. So after 6 months now, I'd say our results so far are that I'm less fatigued, which I deal with daily. I'm actually completing more work in my insurance business now, more than before, than 6 months ago. And my mental clarity's returned. I have to have a lot of mental ability to help people with insurance products. And I'm also sleeping better, so I'm not as grumpy, which is a plus. And I have also lost a solid 10 pounds, which is a big deal. And it's kind of hard to see, but this is really baggy. This shirt used to fit me, and it's really baggy. You can just see the bagginess. It's really baggy. Anyway, I'm excited because I'm going to take my measurements soon, and I know they've changed. So, but the 10 pounds might not seem a lot to some people, whereas my husband lost 45. I'm on a steroid to handle my RA, and that causes weight gain. It actually put 30 pounds on me. So I am so excited to have lost 10 of that 30. So I'm trying to lose the other 20. I am working with my doctor to come off that steroid, and that is a challenge. Let me tell you, I've been working for months to come off of it, and I'm down to 2.5 milligrams where I was at 10 on a daily basis. So that's one more thing, I guess. Oh, I want to mention when we went to an outing this past Sunday, we went to a family outing. We went out to eat. It was just a barbecue, hot dogs, chips, coleslaw, sodas. And we partook, and I regretted it. And my husband and I came home. We immediately felt the lack of nutrition in that air food. It was really weird. We looked at each other. We're like, let's split a shake. And we did. And we were like, shoo. So it's really, truly amazing how we've come to depend on Isagenix now to solve our body's request for good nutrition and to help manage our conditions. So that we're not grumpy people anymore, and we're actually loving life and looking forward to life again. Let me tell you, it has been a rough ride, okay? The other wonderful part is that we get to share this with people and make money doing it, and it just feels like I'm finally coming into my own, where I've wanted to do this for my whole life. I wish I'd known about Isagenix 10 years ago. I would have been doing this like Bethany for the last 8 years. So I honestly can't imagine our lives without Isagenix. So thank you, Stephanie, for letting us share our story tonight.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you, Shayne and Jennifer and Vicki. So many wonderful moments were spent tonight. I know there were some tears and excitement, and as well as people really understanding large portions of your guys' stories. And so I want to thank you for that transparency, but thank you for sharing all of the wonderful things that have come out. And of course, you know, as our disclaimer, we cannot cure, prevent, treat any type of disease, illness, and guarantee results, but there is something special about adding the right nutrients. And as Jennifer talked about, she's known about incredible vitamins and supplements and different things before, and giving your body the right nutrition can change everything. So I hope you guys enjoyed these stories. I certainly have. And, you know, just some of the takeaways that I got. Well, first of all, watching the two of you and watching Vicki smile, doing it together as a family and having that bond that happens. And that happens so often that we need to share and we want to share with others, but with our family especially, and eating the same way, and knowing that your marriage has actually gotten better just by changing the nutrition, not just in how you feel, but even your conversations and the things that you do together, and going to parties and knowing, I don't want to eat that. Let's go home and share a shake. There is definitely something special about that. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Shayne. Thank you, Vicki. And thank you, Bethany and Annie, for sharing this with them. Everyone, I want to thank you guys for coming again today on a Thursday evening. It's always special to have you guys here. It really means a lot to the presenters for your love and support, but also take these stories and share them with other people. Like Jennifer said, there's nothing like sharing it with other people, making a difference into their lives. And then you, of course, receive income from the company. You can take it as credit to pay for your food. Vicki shares it as well so that they get their food paid for. There's nothing like getting free groceries every single month for your family, but then also to make an income. Bethany Krause, who has been mentioned a few times, just became our brand newest millionaire, Isogenics millionaire number 328. So big round of applause, Bethany. There's incredible things that can happen with this. As we talked about when we began, the community, how you feel, look, act, move, live, the income that's involved. And we're coming up to the holiday time. This is when people are looking for extra income. Come here. We can help you with that. We can make a difference. And you only receive that income by helping other people. So if that's a fit for you, please get back to the person who invited you here tonight. And again, I want to thank Jennifer, Shayne, Vicki. Thank you for sharing your stories, and everybody for being a part of this evening. Very special. Thank you guys so much for everything.